Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhavan Punjabi Hari Jaya Madhava Punjabi Hari Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privjakacharya Asto Tartatashi Śrimad Nitya Lila Pravistom is divine grace by Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi Haribol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskita Deshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nastapareshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, which is entitled Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. We're reading verses 29 and 30 today. We'll chant responsibly 30, which has a substantial purport. Maitreya uvacha eti tasya vacha shrutva trayas te vibhu harshaba pratyahu slaksnaya vacha prahasyatam rishim prabho. The great sage Maitreya continued, upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, the three great deities smiled, and they replied in the following sweet words. So preliminary information here is that this is a great saintly person, sage, he's a yogi, he's performing penance and austerity. His name is Atri Muni. And the three principal deities of this material world, that is Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu, all appeared before him. Lord Shiva, there are three primary modes of material nature, just like there are three primary colors. You mix the three primary colors, blue, yellow, and red. That's right, I got red, yellow, and blue. You get the whole spectrum. So the three primary colors of material nature, which make the spectrum for all material energy, both gross, this material body, and subtle, the mind and intelligence and ego, become influenced by these modes in particular mixtures and combinations. Just like an artist, he mixes the three primary colors and gets so many different nuances of colors. So ultimately, we should be very expert artists to get the best colors, and the ultimate best colors are colors in the mode of goodness, which ultimately provides the platform to transcend the material nature altogether and come to what's called Shuddha Sattva Gun. Guna are the qualities of material nature, but there is also transcendental or spiritual qualities. Shuddha, pure, Sattva, Gun. So as we'll see here in the next verse, that Atri Muni, he had no clear conception of who is the ultimate personality of God, personality of Godhead, but because of his sincerity, his proportionate sincerity and faith, all three deities appeared because it wasn't clear who he was actually addressing. And Prabhupada's purport will give us a very good opportunity to delve into the understanding of how faith and intention or direction in our lives and in our application of the things that we have at our avail, our body, mind, and senses, faith and desire, is so important to get an outcome which is favorable and desirable. So this is text 30. Deva uchu, you can say, yata kritas te sankalpo bhavyam. Can people see that? Is it too far away? Should be brought, the whole apparatus should be brought closer. Can everybody see that and read it? I can see it, but can you read it? Okay. Bhavyam Tanaiva Nanyata Sat Sankalpasya Te Brahman Yad Vai E Vayam Deva Uchu Yatakritaste Sankalpo Bhavyam Tenaiva Nanyata Sat Sankalpasya Te Brahman Yadvai Dayati Te Vayam Deva Uchu Yatakritaste Sankalpo Bhavyam Tenaiva Nanyata Yate Brahman Yadvai Dayati Te Vayam Deva Uchu Yatakritaste Sankalpo Bhavyam Tenaiva Nanyata Sat Sankalpasyate Brahman Yadvai Dayati Te Vayam
Deva Uchu Yatakritaste Sankalpo Bhavyam Tenaiva Nanyata Sat Sankalpasya Te Brahman Yadvai Dayati Te Vayam Dharkakaste sankalpo Avyamtenaiva nanyata Satsankalpasya Brahman
Deva Uchu, the demigods replied, Yata, as, Krita, done, Te, by you, Sankalpa, determination, Bhavyam, to be done, Tena Eva, by that, Na Anyata, not otherwise, Satsankalpasya, one whose determination is never lost. Te, of you, Brahman, O dear Brahmana, Yat, that which, Vai, certainly, Jayati, meditating, Te, all of them, Vayam, we are. The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore, as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. Purport. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, although he had no clear idea of the Lord of the universe, nor of his specific form. Mahavishnu, from whose breathing millions of universes emanate, and into whom they are again withdrawn, may be accepted as the Lord of the universe. Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from whose abdomen sprouted the lotus flower, which is the birthplace of Brahma, may also be considered the Lord of the universe. Similarly, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is the supersoul of all living entities, may also be considered the Lord of the universe. Then, under the order of Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the Vishnu from within this universe, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva may also be accepted as lords of the universe. Vishnu is the Lord of the universe because he is its maintainer. Similarly, Brahma creates the different planetary systems and the population. So he also may be considered the Lord of the universe. Or Lord Shiva, who is ultimately the destroyer of the universe, also may be considered its Lord. Therefore, since Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted, all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, came before him. They said, quote, since you were thinking of having a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, your determination will be fulfilled, unquote. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, title of the chapter, verse number 25, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan, Pritrin Yanti Patir Vrata. If one is attached to a particular demigod, one is promoted to the abode of that demigod. If one is attached to the Pitas or forefathers, one is promoted to their planet. And similarly, if one is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one is promoted to the abode of Lord Krishna. Atri Muni had no clear conception of the Lord of the universe. Therefore, the three presiding deities were actually the small letter L, lords of the universe in the three departments of the modes of material nature, all came before him. Now, according to the strength of his determination for his son, his desire would be fulfilled by the grace of the Lord. Om Jnana Timirandasya Janandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Dhyena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantitam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatanvitam Dam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhi Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Deva uchu yata kritas te sankalpo bhavyam tenaiva nanyata sat sankalpas yate brahman yadvai dayati te vayam. The three deities told Atri Muni, dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. So, there are different things happening simultaneously here. For one, this is the of the population of the universe. So there is great need for especially important and influential personalities who will be very instrumental in the unfurling or the furthering of the aim of the universe, which is ultimately to give the spirit soul, the part and parcel of Krishna, the living entity, the eternal person, to go back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world, where there is no repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, which are the four main problems of life that afflict or implicate every living entity in whatever species of life, in whatever time or yuga that they're living in, and in any position in this material world. It is understood that where we're situated on this earth planet, which is called Bhu Mandala. Bhu is Sanskrit name for this earth. There's actually a presiding deity of this earth planet, Bhu Devi, who even in common parlance people refer to as Mother Nature. So being right in the middle planetary system, the enjoyment is not that great, and the suffering is also not that extreme or great. It's just in the middle. Actually, higher and lower is defined in this material world as having a higher standard of material opulence and facility for gratification and enjoyment of the senses, and lower or hellish, proportionately less. So we'll see it'll be revealed to us in the coming verses that the sons of Atri Muni, partial representation of Brahma, the first progenitor of this universe on behalf of Lord Krishna, the deity in charge of the mode of passion or Rajagun, Soma, the moon god, was born. From the partial representation of Vishnu, Krishna expands as Vishnu. We were hearing in the purport of the three principal Vishnus, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, and Prabhupada was describing how all of them can be considered the Lord of the universe because they're all ultimately the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but performing a particular function necessary for universal administration. So the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya, we see by his activities, Dattatreya, he was a pure Brahmin situated in the pure mode of goodness. And from Lord Shiva is known as Ashutosh, one of his names. He's easily pleased, and he's also easily angered. And the anger of Lord Shiva is very devastating. We will see in the coming chapters how when Lord Shiva was offended by Durvasa Muni, by Daksha, yes. Actually, Durvasa Muni, who is the partial representation of Lord Shiva, he gets in his fair share of making offense also, as we see in other places in the Bhāgavatam. But Lord Shiva became so angry that all of those who were situated, at least by name or external, if not, it was revealed that perhaps they weren't so properly or justifiably situated as brahmanas, some of them lost their lives, and many of them were disfigured and wounded very, very badly until Lord Shiva ultimately appeased. Then there was a chance for rectification. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, although he had no clear idea of the Lord of the universe, nor of his specific form. Vishnu is the Lord of the universe because he is its maintainer. Similarly, Brahma creates the different planetary systems and the population, so he may also be considered the Lord of the universe. So the first paragraph, actually we can look again, where Prabhupada is describing the position of the three principal deities of Vishnu in this universe. Mahavishnu, from whose breathing millions of universes emanate and to whom they are again withdrawn, may be accepted as the Lord of the universe. So Mahavishnu is the most awesome Vishnu, because he is, through his breathing and through the pores of his skin, unlimited Brahmandas or universes are emanating. And Vishnu becomes the singular Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who becomes the supreme Lord of each and every one of these unlimited universes. Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from whose abdomen sprouted the lotus flower, which is the birthplace of Brahma. Brahma is known as Atma Bhu, which means he has no mundane birth, because he's coming, sprouting from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Similarly, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is the supersoul of all living entities, then Vishnu expands to become the indwelling Paramatma, supersoul in the heart, not just of human beings, but all living entities within the particular universe, under the jurisdiction of the singular Garbhodakshai Vishnu, of which unlimited Garbhodakshai Vishnus are matching each and every universe expanded unlimitedly from Mahavishnu. Vishnu is the Lord of the universe because he is its maintainer. Similarly, Brahma creates the different planetary systems and the population. So he also must be considered the Lord of the universe. Or Lord Shiva, who is ultimately the destroyer of the universe, also may be considered its Lord. We still see today, particularly in India, and now as Vedic and the culture of India is spreading more and more all over the world, exception amongst Westerners, that they think that Lord Shiva is supreme. And one reason why they gravitate towards that misconception, because Lord Shiva's activities, or his seeming activities, seems to promote or substantiate different types of materialistic activities, just as taking intoxication and leading a lifestyle which is, let's just say, they think, the misled people, that you can have your cake and eat it too. You think that you're godly or spiritual, but at the same time very much engaged in sense gratification. Who is ultimately Lord Shiva, the destroyer of the universe, may also be considered its Lord. Therefore, since Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted, all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, came before him. So the appearance in this universe of Dasa Muni, Soma, the demigod of the moon, this is a post. A demigod position is a post or a position, just like there have been 110 mayors of this great city of New York since its incorporation in the 1600s. But when one, either his term is up, or he loses the election, or he's removed from office for one reason or another, then there is another mayor. So there is always a god of the moon who is in charge of the functions of the moon. So this Soma, very important position, especially at the beginning of the universe, made his appearance. And of course, Dattatreya, the partial expansion of Lord Vishnu, pure Brahman. But at the same time, Atri Muni, his personal position, his faith, his determination, his understanding, his devotion, this is a lesson for all of us that we should aspire to make all of those categories, faith, determination, devotion, as clear and as specific as possible. And they encouraged and replied to Atri Muni when they appeared before him, since you are thinking of having a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, your determination will be fulfilled. He was thinking of having a son, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He got three. But each of these persons were different. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotion. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he directs us to look at, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 25, Yanti Deva Prata Devan Pritin Yanti Patir Brata. Those who are devotees of other small letter G gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way or without correct understanding. Just like the misled or bewildered by sense gratification, devotees of Lord Shiva consider him to be supreme. And we see in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam here, which is called the Amala Purana, the spotless Purana, how perhaps hard to find in other Vedic literatures, Lord Shiva, he personally reveals, there's even a chapter in this fourth canto, 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, where he even so strongly says that those who are my devotees are not as dear to me as those who are devoted to Lord Krishna. And he ultimately, in his own personal determination and heart of hearts, he wishes to worship Krishna in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, which is Krishna's most supreme holy place, we see Lord Shiva, he's performing a very, very important service as the protector of the holy Dham, making sure that the Dham is protected. Unauthorized persons come there, and he's situated in the four directions. You can help me if I'm wrong here or forgetful. Kameshvar in the west, Bhuteshvar in Mathura in the south, Gopishvar, Vrindavan in the east, and Nandishvar at Krishna's personal home, his father's home, Nandagram, Nandishvar in the north. And many other important and confidential glories of Lord Shiva in Vrindavan are there to be understood and glorified and worshipped by us. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits, or those who are deeply in, see that this is a very prominent attraction, unfortunately, for people in this age. It's described in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Divisions of Faith, that which is unholy and godly becomes very much attractive to people in the Kali Yuga, which is that which is actually holy, godly, and religious and worthy of one's worship and attention becomes something which is averse or laughable or neglected by the fallen people of this Kali Yuga. But those who worship me, Krishna says, will live with me. If one has any desire to go to the moon or the sun or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose, such as the process technically known as Darsha Purnamasi. These are all vividly described in the fruitive activity portion of the Vedas, which recommends a specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets, the planets of the ancestors, by performing a specific yajna. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a yaksha, raksha, or pisacha. Srila Prabhupada was revealed, or was asked, or they showed to Srila Prabhupada a heavy, not personally directly going to a concert, but like maybe some pictures or something of one of these new emerging heavy metal rock bands in the 1970s. I think it was KISS. What does that name mean? Knights in Satan's Service, Haribol. And Prabhupada said they have been specifically sent here to bring people to the hellish planets. So instead of going to a large kirtan where one's glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead with 10 or 20, you'll hear this hellish music, which has hellish lyrics talking about glorifying just hell. What is to glorify about that? They even write songs about it. Anyway, Hare Krishna. There are many men who practice this black art and they think that it is spiritualism. But such activities are completely materialistic. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planets of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It is very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshiping the demigods one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshiping the Pitas achieve the Pita planets, or by practicing the black arts achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotees not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? And Prabhupada makes this very important, emphatic, and truly heartfelt statement now. Unfortunately, many people have no information of those sublime planets of Krishna, where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know of them, they fall down. One time Prabhupada asked, what is the purpose of our book distribution, or of this movement in general or in whole in its entirety? And Prabhupada gave the answer: to distribute knowledge to the people. Lord Chaitanya has said of the distribution of the holy name, all glories to the Sankirtan of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is the Vidya Vadu Jivanam. If you go on Prikram in Vrindavan and you go through the Keshigat temple, the corner where the Yamuna Devi temple is, and the daily worship in the evening of Yamuna Devi is done, and there's a large tree branch that is going, and you have to duck under it. There's a school, and it's called the Mahaprem Vidyalal, which means the supreme love of knowledge. Mahaprem Vidyalal. So Lord Chaitanya, he's saying that this chanting is the life and soul of all transcendental knowledge. So the ultimate conclusion, the ultimate topmost position is to chant and dance on the platform of fully aroused ecstasy, prema bhakti, in the personal movement of and Krishna, who have combined together as Lord Chaitanya. They are propagating this Yuga Dharma, Prema Yuga Dharma, in this most fallen age of Kali Yuga. And how powerful are the appearance of Radha and Krishna in the form of their holy names is that even the slightest contact with them through the propagation of Sankirtan, which is best done by pure devotees, those devotees who have no ulterior motive or separate intention other than to please their lordship by distributing their love, which is most readily available and granted mercifully to the people in this age through the Sankirtan movement, not considering who is fit or who is unfit, proper place, not proper place, proper time. The members of the Panchatattva, that is the Lord's his personal staff that he incarnates to distribute this love to the people in general, following in their footsteps, without any personal desire for name, fame, profit, adoration, or distinction, simply to please them. If anyone comes into contact with such kirtan, no matter how much the load of their sinful karma is weighing them down in this material world, which by due justice and calculation would keep them here for millions and millions of births, their path back home, back to Godhead, becomes so much open and clear that they can even go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. And if for whatever reason they cannot become favorable to the principles of Krishna, devotional service, immediately, maybe later in this lifetime, but those millions and millions of lifetimes is reduced to 1, 2, 3, very small number. So the propagation of this Sankirtan movement is the most essential activity because it is purifying the entire universe, this entire earth planet, and it will make the attempt of future generations of devotees that much more easier, just as if we cultivate and fertilize our agricultural field, then it will make planting, growing, and harvesting, and what you will actually harvest, so much nicer. There's someone set up a fruit stand here in front of the CVS pharmacy, on Flatbush Avenue near the Nevin Street subway. Now, what a deal. 3 avocados for $5. And when you bring them home and you cut them open, when they seem to be ripe, they're simply black inside. And they smell like they came out of the sewer, In the trash, I won't even eat a bite. And if you do eat a bite, you're going to spit it out. So where did they come from? And anyway, so you have to buy organic. Like anybody my age or older. When I was a kid, we didn't call it organic. We simply called it food. Anyway, so distribute the principles of devotional service, even if there's not an immediate response. Prabhupada, when he brought the devotees back to the Commonwealth Pier, Bhakta Bailey, in Boston in May 1968, and we know how difficult it is to drive around Boston, right? All the one way and this way and zigzag and oh my goodness. Prabhupada knew exactly how to go from Alston all the way down to the Commonwealth Pier. And devotees were amazed how he knew those directions. There wasn't GPS or, look on your phone and whatever, You have to have a map or you have to ask somebody and get the wrong directions and get lost, and maybe after the second or third request you might find somebody who knows what they're talking about. So coming down to the pier, Prabhupada is very, very grave, and he saw written on like one of the dock warehouses, unalloyed steel. And Prabhupada said, they have unalloyed steel, but we have unalloyed devotion. If a pack of donkeys says that you're good, just like 20,000 people at the KISS concert, is that something noteworthy and praiseworthy and remarkable and like, wow, and something should be emulated? If a pack of donkeys says that you're good, what is that? Meaningless. We want a certificate from Krishna that this man has done something for me. So, Narottam Das Thakur, he praises the pure devotee, that his fame is spread throughout all the planetary systems. This universe has lower, middle, and higher planets, from top to bottom. So if the fallen population on this earth planet, in this Kali Yuga, they aren't able to recognize the value of pure devotional service, pure devotional practices immediately, that does not subtract from value. If you're selling gold and diamonds, and for one, people can't recognize the difference between real gold and fool's gold and a real diamond or just like fake glass, that doesn't diminish the value of the real gold and the real diamond, nor does the seller or proprietor of the gold and diamond lower its price because we're not getting so many customers. He holds out. And when someone's actually ready to pay the price, which is one's faith, desire, and determination, then the diamond and gold is earned. And Prabhupada would say that, and his own spiritual master would say, if at the expense of all of the temples and all of the endeavor and all of the money and just all of the activity, if I can make one person a pure devotee, then the entire effort would be a complete success. So we have to be Shreyasi. Shreyasi, Lord Chaitanya also, he says, this Sankirtan movement, Shreya Karaiva Chandrika Vitaranam. Shreya means long-term benefit. So we have to be long-term visionary. We have to have the Trikalagna, be able to see what is the past, what is the present, and how it will lead to the future. And by following the determination, make the word of the pure devotee, make his desire one with your desire. And that will focus you, so you, like him, your pure predecessor, will also, Uttam Gati, achieve the highest position. Prabhupada said, I've given you everything. Don't change it. Don't adulterate it. And even if, Prabhupada said, if you can't increase, if you just maintain it as it is, that's increasing. Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness. Goodness is maintenance. Passion is creation, and tamagun, of which Lord Shiva is in charge, is destruction. Intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, activities in the mode of ignorance, they lead to destruction and degradation. Mode of passion, building, attempting, surging forward. Lasts for some time, but then it crumbles and you have to do it again. Whereas in the mode of goodness, maintenance, you are automatically live a very simple life, changing our fashion, we're not increasing our opulence. You know, however tall we are, that's the amount of space that we take when we go to sleep. It's not because we become more advanced in whatever fanciful way that we're advanced. Does that mean we're going to eat more? The older you get, the less you need to eat. Prabhupada told a young disciple that we don't tell everybody this at the beginning, but our goal is to make eating nil, sleeping nil, mating nil, and defending nil. In other words, fully re-emerge on the spiritual platform. So we've seen, in looking at the history of Srila Prabhupada's movement, which is now 59 years old, that there have been times when devotees have thought that maybe we could do some other way, utilize our strength, our manpower, maybe we can collect money in a certain way, which actually departs from the pure Brahminical way of propagating Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. And in a word, that led to a result much less desirable than what was thought of would be achieved. It ultimately led to devotees losing enthusiasm, losing faith, becoming disturbed. It led to poverty, actually, in general. So we don't need get-rich-quick schemes. We need more adherence and faith to the principles of Lord Chaitanya, the Sankirtan movement, the propagation of transcendental knowledge, and especially Srila Prabhupada liked when transcendental knowledge, book distribution, went on side by side with the pure propagation of the holy name. The holy name is the living book, and the book is to convince everyone to become completely immersed in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes, Oliver.
It seems like pure devotees have limitations.
We have to speak a little louder, I
It
think.
seems like pure devotees have limitation. Why put a limitation to how high pure devotee can go? If we're limitless.
Well, there's a very nice heartfelt revelation by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. He wrote the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the most glorified and beloved biographical description of the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, just as birds fly higher and higher according to their capacity and strength, so similarly, devotees, on the strength of their devotion, they go higher and higher in their glorification of the Lord. And he's praying to be blessed by his superiors and predecessors to have such strength. So there's no limit to how high one can go in one's love of Godhead. That is for sure. I won't say but, I'll say or, we're in this material world and we have this material body, which is under the laws of nature and time. It's described as soon as one takes birth, then one's lifetime is diminishing. Even make such an extreme statement. If there's a newborn baby and he's 1 month old, that means he's 1 month closer to death. So devotees are very careful to utilize time in such a way that it is always engaged for profit by acquiring Daivi Sampat, that means spiritual assets. Anything that we do in Krishna consciousness is completely pure and leads to an ultimate transcendental result. And you keep accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, and not only does it outweigh whatever bad karma from your previous life or before being imparted the knowledge of Krishna consciousness and being able to take to it, not only is that absolved, it's kind of like laying the playing field clear, but you now have the facility to go deeper and deeper into the unlimited Krishna Sambandha, reciprocation with Krishna. Like Prabhupada is saying, people don't have knowledge and information of the sublime planets of Krishna, and what to speak of the activities. Actually, knowledge is divided into three: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And knowledge is defined in terms of its relationship, your relationship with the personality of Godhead. So Sambandha is the beginning. I realize that I'm not this body, I'm eternal spirit soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna's qualities are so amazing and wonderful because he is the original person. I am a person. And whatever personal Krishna, and when I reciprocate with Krishna in the eternal relationship that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I'm simply meant to serve and please him, which should never be tried to understand that in terms of servitude in this material world, which is always based on some type of exploitation and false casteism or some type of crazy ego, which leads to so many terrible things in this material world. But that service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most congenial and desired form of intimacy that each and every one of us seeks. Lord Chaitanya says that this Sankirtan movement can fulfill everyone's desire and give everyone the Amrita, the sublime nectar for which we're always anxious. We're looking for pleasure in this material world, but looking for pleasure in this material world is like trying to find water in the desert. There is no pleasure in this material world. What seems to be pleasure is simply the false conception of the gratification of the senses, gross and subtle. So I think we've gone over time here. You want to?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
You were saying that Narottam Das Thakur was somebody that their glories is spread even down to the Lord of Planets.
I was referring to the Guru Vandana song, that there's no need to try to get fame from materialistic persons in this material world. We simply try to please Krishna. And because Krishna, it's not that, we're like, we don't care about people, but because Krishna is the root. Everyone, if Krishna is pleased, everyone will be pleased. The Lord, Krishna, he sees our attempt to sincerely spread his glories. Prabhupada said one time that the pure devotee's love for the Lord is shown, or it is detected, or it is defined or understood that he simply wants his Lord's name and fame to be spread all over the world. Tribhuvan, yeah, throughout the 14 planetary systems, upper, lower, and middle. Okay, one more, but we get in trouble if we go past 9 o'clock. You know, the gastric juices in people's stomachs, if we hold it up, might cause some disease or inconvenience. So, okay, one more.
So the purpose of the pure devotees is to reach a place. Then after they reach that place, spiritually, they go out there and spread the consciousness and the knowledge around the world. Is that
Yes. It's also simultaneously that whatever, even from the beginning stage, it's practice and perfection at the same time. Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, his prominent time was in the 1920s, 1930s, and he said even if the youngest brahmachari would just go out and struggle all day just to distribute 5 magazines of the temple, he would be so pleased and said, "You've done such a wonderful thing, you're so nice." So whatever we know, whatever we've learned, that we try to give it out and you get more. That's the way to increase your own devotion, your knowledge, your ability, your facility more and more by trying. Even if it seems to be unsuccessful or not so triumphant, because you tried, that is your greatness, and that will, Krishna will give you more and more. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give them the understanding on how to come to me and how to serve me. So we'll stop on that point. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna?
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Rama ki